Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. Well, I'm almost done with this online offering. I really wanted to get it out today. It seems so appropriate for the moment. Ugh. I am on the road and I'm having some really spotty internet right now. So uploads and things like that are just not reliable, and I'm still waiting for my mobile internet to show up, and then things will be much more steady. So all of this has been a great transition, and so I'm certainly learning patience in this transitional time. I did make a video. I think I titled it something like post-election, because there was so much happening in the collective, and it was about focus. There was so much going on collectively, so many feelings, so many opinions, that I could feel it. I was feeling all of my own feelings. I was feeling like an avalanche of my feelings, everybody else's feelings. Who knows where does that line begin and end? But I knew immediately when I felt that coming up. I knew immediately I needed to support myself. I'm like, how do I get back to my health and my power? Because that's my priority. And the word focus came to mind. And I was so glad to have this online offering that I'm creating. I'm so glad to have it to focus on, because I feel I want to stay in connection with everybody. And I've been offering something from my heart for many years now, and it's showed up in a public space and face to face, and now I'm having to change the format. But I continue to have this desire to share and to share things that I have found really useful for me. And then I've found over the years that when I find something that's useful for me and I share it with others, I get a lot of feedback that, like, oh my God, how did you know how I was feeling? How did you know what was going to be supportive for me? And I'm like, well, because I am you. You are me at a foundational energetic level. That's the higher truth. So I tune in here. So you know what? I mean, I'm having realizations just as I'm talking. I'm gonna continue to focus. And I've learned through all of my studies of consciousness and metaphysics and holistic wellness, this is where our power is in the ability to focus. When we're scattering our attention everywhere, I mean, that's what resembles the monkey mind, the untrained mind. And there's a lot in our culture set up to support that untrained mind. Where one is losing all of their power, I think about, I've really enjoyed TikTok, and some people are like, have been surprised by that. But there's a lot I could say behind that, but I'm getting the most interesting, I'm having the most interesting experience of seeing the world through so many people's eyes. And there's so many people in my field of, if you want to call it holistic wellness, quantum wellness, whatever, a lot of chiropractors out there. There's so many people out there sharing so much interesting information that I'm learning a lot, and I'm finding interesting connections with people. And it's too much. It's too much information. It's too fast. And I can feel that. And so, I need to watch myself and say, what are you going on here for? Like, you going on here to learn? Or are you going on here to scatter your attention everywhere? Because I know that is a way that I will lose power. So I'm keeping my eye on it, especially right now, because I want to maintain my wellness, my health, my regulated nervous system, because if we don't have that, we're really at a loss. That's number one. That's step number one, is regulated nervous system. It's it's foundational. It's like the bottom of a coffee cup. It's like, if there's no bottom, I know it's backwards. Best grandma ever. Don't ask. It's like the base of the coffee cup. Like, without, or the teacup or the water cup. Oh my God, what got in there? Lord only knows. It's all right. It's all protein, isn't it? Yeah, without that, what you got? You can't have anything. Nothing builds on top of that empty opening. So our wellness, period. That's it. That's the base of the mug. So yeah, I'm going to continue to remain focused. I'm going to continue to remain in that sort of, that bird's eye view, that mystic's lens. A mystic is a person who sees in wholes, WHOLES, rather than parts. That's been my favorite definition that I've ever heard of a mystic. And, I've been looking back through some of my earlier consciousness research, revisiting some of my favorite folks. Dr. David Hawkins has been a really big favorite for many, many years. He created the scale of consciousness, or also called the emotional scale. He equates levels of consciousness with their equivalent emotional level. And it's a scale from 0 to 1,000. And lower levels of consciousness down here are, fear, apathy, grief. We move up to a level of about 200, and you start to get into the realm of courage. I talked about this some in the welcome video for the online offering that I'm calling Advancing Your Yoga, Evolving Your Consciousness. And so that level 200, about that level, is like the level of courage. And then you get to neutrality and acceptance, and you start building up on this scale. And we're constantly moving, between these levels of consciousness. But we have a predominant place that we live. Some people live in a near constant state of fear and complaining and, oh, woe is me, and the world is a really dark place. And then there's a friend of mine that I'm on her property right now, and she's just one of the lighter beings I've ever met. It's just, she's seeing the glass as half full constantly. She's just a very uplifted person. Her predominant level of consciousness is quite high on that scale. Okay, good. My kitty is still here. Gotta keep my eye on her. I've got some doors open right now, and seeing how she does with that. Good job, Egg. So anyway, I was looking up, revisiting some of this work from Dr. David Hawkins, and I remember him saying that after really big events within the country, things that affect the globe, things that affect collective consciousness, things that a lot of people are paying attention to and then have feelings about. And 9/11. So there was this big spike on that emotional scale, or that scale of consciousness, after 9/11 happened, because there was this outpouring of compassion and care for others. And I'm thinking, so, I'm equating these, what's going on in the world right now with this consciousness stuff. And I'm like, wow, what an interesting time to be focused on this subject in the middle of a big jump, a big spike. And, I am of the opinion, and I have been witnessing an awakening in human consciousness for many years. And I'm just watching it continue. That's the lens I look through. And even this morning, I'm gently witnessing people start to steer away from smaller truths to greater truths. Like the higher truth, higher reality tells us that our power comes from the inside. It's internal. Our safety is internal. Everything is internal. The greater truths are internal. Everything external is like a shadow of the truth, right? The light. When the light shows up, it creates the shadow. So, like, looking around outside for anything that you need, that we need, I mean, it's just, it's wrong-headed. Everything is, and according to the wisdom traditions, including yoga, they're saying this is an internal thing. And I'm watching people realize that, like, see it in like a more real way for the first time. There's a lot of people feeling unsafe in the world. I'm on this group text, and people were like, I was hearing people say how absolutely unsafe they felt, and they're like, how is anybody getting to a feeling of safety? And I was like, oh, okay. They were externally focused, looking for safety out there, when the greater, realer, higher safety is inside. So it's like, it's so interesting to just watch it all happen. I wonder what your experience is. I'd love to hear. And it's useful to put it on the YouTube commentary. Once we get into our online offering, there's a place to create some commentary. But if you want to chime in, please do it there so that everybody can see it for now. Yeah. So back to Dr. Hawkins and the scale of consciousness. So I believe he originally, posted. He originally wrote about the scale of consciousness or emotional scale in his book Power versus Force. And the higher you are on that scale, the more power that you have. But it's a power that uplifts those people around you. And it's a logarithmic scale, and he's got all these numbers, and he does all this math. And so one person vibrating their predominant state of consciousness is around the number or the level 500, around the level of love. one single person whose predominant state is that energetically uplifts 750,000 other people. That's crazy, right? That's crazy, right? So this literally just came to mind. Oh gosh, who was it? Eckhart Tolle. It's a story from Eckhart Tolle. He was incredibly depressed as a younger man. I mean, he didn't want to live. And I remember a story of his where he went to this retreat, and he was so depressed. And he went and he would sit, he wound up liking this one old man who would sit around in his rocking chair on his little front porch. I think they were at some sort of a retreat. And, there's little cabins and people are staying in these cabins, and he would just wind up sitting on the porch with this old man. They didn't do any talking. The old man would just rock and kind of stare out in space, and Eckhart enjoyed his company, so he would just sit there quietly a lot with him. And as the days went by, Eckhart was realizing that he was starting to feel better, and he didn't understand why, because he had not been feeling good. And then he heard rumor around the retreat property that there was this, really lovely and lit up spiritual teacher on campus. And he came to find out they were talking about him. And he's like, me? Because he thought he was just this miserable clod. And so it was, this is mention, not this is what Eckhart is saying. He came to understand that it was being within the field of consciousness that this man was radiating, that is what was uplifting him. So that's the power. I mean, the man wasn't doing anything but existing. There are certain high vibrations that disease cannot even live at. It can't exist. It immediately eradicates disease. This is the power of high vibration. This is a vibrational universe, period. The grandmother science of quantum physics tells us that. All of the wisdom traditions in their own language tell us that. And vibration has an effect on vibration. If this is a tuning fork, all right, we'll bring grandma around. If this is a tuning fork and this is a crystal, champagne flute or something, when I would hit the tuning fork, I mean, this is the vibration from the tuning fork is having an effect. The molecules of the glass will start to vibrate. So, and that's everything. Everything is having an effect on everything else. We are energetic beings, consciousness beings. Everything, the fabric of all things is consciousness or energy. So one is affecting the other. So I have a desire to feel good, stable, healthy, in my power, especially when things outside are really rocky. That's my priority. And then once I feel good and steady, I want to go be able to support others if necessary. Because some folks have reached out to me needing support, and I'm like, oh God, if I'm all over the place, how am I going to help them? If you too have that same desire. My first recommendation is this focus thing. Find something to focus on that is helping to encourage a feeling of groundedness, of safety, of calm, of feeling nice and slow inside of yourself, focused, rather than let me look at TikTok or whatever, and my thoughts are going here and here and here, and oh my God, what about this group of people? Oh my God, what about this? What about? We're losing power everywhere. It's just leaking. It's leaking all over the place. It's like having cracks in the mug. I mean, then you got an empty mug. It's all gone. So I'm going to remain focused. If anybody's feeling all over the place, finding a focus. I saw one of you, I don't remember who it was, playing the guitar. And I thought, perfect. Find one thing to focus on. That's where our power is in meditation. We're focusing on a smaller field or a single point. This is how we literally lift our own vibration, come back to our base of health, and then can support others. So same thing on the little earth realm here. Find something, I brought my guitar here. I've stopped playing for a while, but I'm going to play around on that a little bit today. So that's for now. And then if you are looking for further support and encouragement in how to keep yourself steady and uplifted energetically at this time, because we need you right now. There are fewer people vibrating at these higher levels of consciousness. There are fewer people here than are vibrating down here. For example, tons of fear is coming up, shame is coming up, real base emotions, low level of consciousness stuff. That's a dominant state on the planet right now. Fewer people are vibrating up here, but those people vibrating up here are helping to lift these people up, like that old man in Eckhart Tolle. So if you have a desire to support, this is an internal thing. You want to work on this internal piece that's going to help uplift the most people possible. This offering is just about out. I want it to be out today. It's gonna be done soon. I'm gonna upload some more things this morning. It's just it's like turtle's pace, but that's all right. We'll focus today, and we'll come to some more specific focuses as this offering comes out shortly. Happy Saturday. Love you, mean it. I'm glad to be out on the road. I think my egg cat, she seems very comfortable in the van. And it's so funny. Who was it? Was it Sonia? I can't remember. One of you had said, Erica, your cat's going to be okay. Because I had said in class how worried about her I was. And it got cold, chilly. Last night. I'm just a couple hours outside of Austin. I've been out waiting some of the heavy snow that was hitting out west. It's gone now, I think. I mean, the storm part. But anyway, I had plugged in a little space heater, and but I thought egg's gonna be okay. And I remember that was from one of you saying that. And also, so many of you had given me just these most beautiful gifts and cards and said these beautiful things before I had left the studio. And I want you to know, not only is it still, that energy is still sitting here with me. If you gave me a card, a physical object, when I look around my van, I'm like, all their stuff is with me. It's like I wanted it. I wanted you with me on this trip. So anyway, more later, and I'm going to let you know when you can get on my website and hit that register button, and we'll continue our journeying and our evolution together. I'm excited about it, and yeah. Mwah.